Hi there, my name is Georgina. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. This is actually my very first YouTube video, so please give me a little bit of grace. I am very much figuring everything out. But this is the introduction to my, hopefully, cozy little corner of the internet that I am going to be calling Dreams of Jeannie. So I thought for my first video, the best thing to do would obviously be to introduce myself and my book taste. So the best thing to do would be the BookTube Newbie Tag. I got these questions from Emma Pratt, who got them from Olive's Book Nook. So without further ado, I will get right on into it. The first question is, what are the books that got you into reading? I started reading from a pretty early age, like independently reading from a very early age. And a big reason for that was because I got into Jacqueline Wilson books when I was pretty young. She's been a consistent writer that I've returned to throughout my life. I literally just finished her brand new book, Picture Imperfect, the other day, and it was 5 stars for me. When I was a kid, I loved everything that she wrote. Like, if her name was on it, I was going to read it. So she's the main reason that I am such a voracious reader even to this day. I kind of fell out of it for a bit when I turned 11, but that was around the time I got into paranormal fiction. Hello, it's my cat meowing, if you heard that in the background. He's coming to say hello. I have 2 cats. This is one of them. Here he is. Here he is. Yay! This is Cassian, or Cassie, which might give you a clue to some of the books I am going to be talking about in this video. But this is my 1.5-year-old, so he's still a baby, to me, anyway. He's my sweet boy. Say hi, look, there's you! Yay! I have an older cat as well, Sooty, who is 17, but she doesn't really like me even taking pictures of her, so who knows if I will ever be able to actually get her on camera. But here's a little picture of her anyway. Yes, as I was saying before Cassie walked over here, when I was about 11, I started to get into what is essentially young adult paranormal romance. So I know what you're thinking. Yes, it was Twilight. I did love Twilight. I had a Twilight phase. You know, it was a time. It was a time to be alive. Do I regret it? No, because I loved it. Is it a bit cringy? Yeah, it is. But I still have fond memories of my Twihard days. But no, the book I really loved, or the series I really loved, was the Wolves of Mercy Falls trilogy by Maggie Stiefvater, another author who I absolutely love. That was the big book for me when I was 11, 12, was Shiver. I was obsessed with Shiver. It was so good. And then a few years later, because again kind of fell out of reading for a bit, it was the Morganville Vampire series by Rachel Caine that got me back into reading when I was about 16. I love that series. I think it's completely underrated. I would recommend that even now, even if you're not a teenager anymore, because I'm definitely not. And then yeah, again, same thing kind of happened. Fell out of reading for a little bit when I was about 20, 21. I've just been scrolling on the internet, as you do, and I found Caraval by Stephanie Garber, and I was like, this looks really interesting. It kind of sounded like The Night Circus, which I love, and I will also be mentioning later. Got it on a whim, and I read it in 2 days. Not too long after that, I also discovered ACOTAR, A Court of Thorns and Roses, but I feel like I discovered it not as early as some people. Obviously some people read it when it was actually being published. I discovered it in 2018 and I loved it. I literally bought the first book on a whim and never looked back. I got halfway through the first book and was like, I need to buy the rest of the series, and that's what I did. Fortunately, I haven't fallen out of reading since I rediscovered my love for it back in 2018 and rediscovered how much I loved certain genres, and now I read at least a little bit every day. Even if it's just a couple of pages, I read every day. It's my favourite thing to do. The next question is, what genres do you read the most? So I'm a fantasy girly. Anything with vampires or dragons or magic and witches and ghosts and werewolves and what have you, I will give it a go, basically. That's like my main genre, I suppose, is romantasy. I also read a fair amount of literary fiction, things that kind of fall into the something girl book kind of thing, so like sad girl, weird girl. And I also like a bit of historical fiction, particularly if it's in like the Tudor era. And dark romance, actually. This year I've really gotten into dark romance, which I'm surprising myself with, because I don't like contemporary, you know, happy, sweet, lovely going romance. Following along from that question, what genres do you read the least? Well, as I said, contemporary romance. I'm not really a big fan of thrillers. I try them every now and a while. Usually I'll try like an audiobook from the library on the Libby app, and it's a thriller. I'll try it, and they're fine. They're never anything that special to me. Same with thriller, crime, just crime fiction in general just is not really for me. And sci-fi. Sci-fi's not really my favourite. The next question is, what is the book you tell everyone is your favourite? One of my favourite books that I read when I was a teenager, and it's still one of my favourite books, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Obviously it's a classic, and I love it. It's one of my favourite books. The adaptation that's coming up, I'm a big fan of Emerald Fennell as a director. I don't want to prejudge, I don't, but I don't know what's going on with that adaptation. I'm very confused by it. But anyway, we follow Catherine Inshaw and Heathcliff, who is not a white man. Cass, you okay? I think he's seen something outside. If you think this book is a love story, no. It's toxic, it's eerie, it's atmospheric, it's gothic. Whatever Emily Bronte was thinking when she wrote this, I get it. I feel like I would have really gotten along very well with Emily Bronte if she left the house, because I don't think she did that too much, and neither do I, so that's fun. The other book that I also consider a favourite is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This is a beautiful book about the love of books, the love of stories. In this book we follow Zachary, who stumbles across a mysterious library book containing details from his own life among its pages, which leads him on a quest unlike any other. So he ends up in a labyrinth, basically. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. And my other favourite book, I'm a basic girl, and I don't care how basic it is. When I read this book for the first time, it changed my brain chemistry, and that is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. And yes, I have the original covers because I read the series in 2018. Yeah, I've read this book a couple of times. I love it. Most people know what it's about. And obviously this is a sequel, so I can't tell you exactly what this one's about. But ACOTAR is about Feyre Archeron, a human who finds herself in Prythian, the fairylands, and we follow her and her journey through Prythian, basically. But I adore this book. The characters in this book feel like home. Like, my cat's called Cassian, so these characters mean a lot to me, clearly, and I know it's a basic option, but I love this book. The next question, what is a book that you have reread the most? Oh, that's funny actually, because it is ACOMAF. I can't even lie. I've read it 3 times. I love it. I love it. I also want to reread The Starless Sea and Wuthering Heights, so they'll probably get added to that list as well. Next question, what is a book that you loved that everybody else didn't? Sticking with Sarah J. Maas. A book that I loved that not everybody else loved is House of Flame and Shadow, the 3rd book in the Crescent City series. I loved this. I had such a good time with it. I understand, kind of, why a lot of people didn't, and how, you know, there was so much build-up around this, there was so much theorising. You know, I understand if it didn't live up to everybody's expectations. It lived up to mine. I was happy with it. But this actually, I went to a release party, my first ever release party, Midnight Mass, which was fun. So it's got a special, oh my god, if I can show you, it's got a special stamp on it, because obviously I was at a release party, so it's got 3 Love, All Is Possible, and then the date of publication on there, which just makes it like special. Question number 7 is what is a book that deserved the hype? The most recent hyped up book that I read and loved was Diabound by Sable Sorensen. I read this on my Kindle, loved it so much that I ran to Waterstones to pre-order this special edition, traditionally published edition, because it's stunning. I read it really quickly considering it's chunky. We follow Merrin. She lives in the village, she's poverty stricken. Her little sister gets kidnapped. Not a spoiler, because it's in the thing. She goes to join the army to try and save her sister, and she ends up taking part in the bonding trials, because in this world soldiers can bond with direwolves. It goes from there, and it's just kind of everything you want in a fantasy romance. Like, I really like Merrin as a character. Like, I didn't find her annoying. It's really pacey. It really kept me hooked all the way through. The next question is a book I read the fastest, but the last book that I read literally in a day was Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Even though there's a lot of like space jargon in it, it didn't feel like a textbook. And we follow Professor Joan Goodwin, who begins training to be an astronaut. We basically follow her and her fellow candidates through their training and how their relationships form friendships and other kinds of relationships. I mean, it is subtitled A Love Story, and it is a book that deserves more hype. I've got a fair few answers for this. First one I'm going to mention is Great Goddesses by Nikita Gill, who is a poet. She does have her first novel coming out. I met Nikita Gill at an event, and she signed my book for me, so it says, may you find your inner divine. A cool message, like, that's fun. So, but yeah, this is a poetry book. If you like Greek mythology, which I do, my favourite Disney movie is Hercules. It's the best. If you like Greek mythology, yes, read this. It's basically stories of female figures from Greek mythology told in poetry, but not pretentious poetry, not at all. The next book I would like to mention, completely different genre than anything I've mentioned before, but it is Lost in the Garden by Adam S. Leslie. I love this cover. This is a weird girl book written by a guy. I read it last summer. Heather, Rachel and Antonia are going to Almonby. Heather needs to find her boyfriend, who, like so many, went and never came back. Rachel has a mysterious package to deliver and her life depends on it. And Antonia, poor love-struck Antonia, just wants the chance to spend the day with Heather. So off they set through the idyllic yet perilous English countryside, in which nature thrives in abundance and summer lasts forever. And as they travel through ever-shifting geography and encounter strange voices in the fizz of shortwave radio, the harder it becomes to tell friend from foe. Creepy, dreamlike, unsettling and unforgettable, you are about to join the privileged few who come to understand exactly why we don't go to Almonby. Don't you want to read it now? Honourable mention for a book that deserves more hype, because it is starting to get more hype, which I'm really happy about because I also love it, and it is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. Samantha Shannon, one of my favourite authors. This is also signed because I have also met her. And it's nice, bold, red, lovely. Look at that. Beautiful. You can see it from miles. That's her old signature. She doesn't do her signature like that anymore. Yeah, she's one of my favourite writers in the entire world, and she's also a fellow chronic migraine girly, which, you know, it's not a great club to be in, but at least we're not alone. So if you are also a fellow chronic migraine, or just chronic illness person in general, I see you. We follow Paige, who is a clairvoyant, and in this world, clairvoyancy is essentially outlawed. And they're living under a very strict dystopian regime that these days it's starting to feel all too possible. But it's also set in the future. It's set in like 2050 something, I want to say. I can't quite remember. But anyway, we follow Paige as she is sent to what was thought to be the lost city of Oxford, but she's actually being sent there to take part in the bone season. What is the bone season? Well, you're gonna have to read it to find out, aren't you? The world building in it is absolutely phenomenal. Like, Samantha Shannon can do no wrong for me. Genuinely. Genuine. Just to throw this in there, because I do read a bit of horror, I forgot to mention that earlier, I do read a bit of horror. A book that I think everybody should read. Tell Me I'm Worthless by Alison Rumford. It's astoundingly good. Because essentially, the horror is fascism. A dark, unflinching, haunted house novel that takes readers from the well of the literary Gothic up through Brighton's queer scene and out into the heart of modern-day trans experience. 3 years ago, Alice spent one night in an abandoned house with her friends Isla and Hannah. Since then, things have not been going well. Alice is living a haunted existence, selling videos of herself cleaning for money, going to parties she hates, drinking herself to sleep. She hasn't spoken to Isla since they went into the house. She hasn't seen Hannah either. Memories of that night torment her mind and her flesh, but when Isla asks her to return to the house past the keep out sign, over the sick earth where teenagers dare each other to venture, she knows she must go. Together, Alice and Isla must face the horrifying occurrences that happen there, must pull themselves apart from the inside out, put their differences aside, and try to rescue Hannah, who the house has chosen to make its own. It's a debut. It's astoundingly good. It's vital. The next question. A book you usually recommend when asked. Okay, as I mentioned, I love Samantha Shannon, so The Priory of the Orange Tree is going to be my suggestion for this one, because I do recommend this to people. I have recommended it to people. Have they taken me up on the recommendation? No, because they're silly. Sorry, friends, if any of my friends that I have recommended this to are watching. You're not silly, I love you, but you really should listen to me when I tell you to read this. There's a reason I talk about it. Honestly. I know it's huge, I know, but I've read it twice. Samantha Shannon and world building go together hand in hand. She just knows what she's doing. We've got queendoms in this, we've got dragons, it's sapphic. You just have to experience it, I think. Okay, next one. A book you thought you would hate. Hate is a very strong word, but I thought that I wouldn't get along with Masters of Death by Olivia Blake, purely because I'd read the Atlas 6 and I didn't love it, so I was a bit hesitant to read something else by Olivia Blake, but I was curious enough about the concept of Masters of Death to give it a go, and I'm really glad I did, because I ended up giving it 5 stars. So sometimes it's worth giving authors a second chance, because it might surprise you. But yeah, Masters of Death, you've got vampires, you've got ghosts, you've got estate agents. It's an odd one to describe, but I had a lot of fun with it. And yeah, I'm really glad I decided to give Olivia Blake another chance, because I love her writing now. I've read Masters of Death, I've read One for My Enemy and Gifted and Talented, and I've really enjoyed all of them. So yeah, sometimes a second chance is worth it, sometimes. A book that made you cry. I'm going to be a little bit basic again, because I am just a girl. Song of Achilles. Yeah, I finished that book at midnight and I was sobbing into a cushion. I don't want to go into it too much, but a couple of the Zodiac Academy books made me cry. Very different, I'm aware. But yeah, Cursed Fates and Heartless Sky. If you know, you know. But I like having strong feelings towards a book. Like, I'd rather cry about a fictional thing happening than crying about something in my own life, you know? So it's therapeutic to me having a good cry in a book. Next is a book I wish I could read again. I very much do want to read The Secret History again, because I do love The Secret History, and it is Secret History season. But I've got so many books that I haven't read that I need to prioritise. I cannot be rereading right now. I can't. But then I also would really like to reread Throne of Glass, which, you know, that's my Throne of Glass shelf right. Oh, there we go. Right there. That's all my Throne of Glass books. I would like to read them again. Next is a book with my favourite characters. So yeah, Akatar, you know, that's my family. You know, the inner circle, that is my family. I love those characters. Merlin from Morganville, oh my god, I love him. And he's Welsh, so of course I love him. Like, he's a, you know, centuries old vampire that's a bit tapped and wears fuzzy bunny slippers. Like, how can you not love him? A book to cure a reading slump. I was in a reading slump this summer, actually. Like, I was still reading, but I wasn't obsessed with what I was reading. So I was like, right, I need something quick, I need something maybe a bit silly. And I found that in Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Mass. I had so much fun with that book. I wasn't expecting it to be incredible. It didn't need to be, it just needed to be fun. And boy was it fun. It's about Alexis, who gets taken to train with Spartans, I think. I can't quite even remember. I can't remember, I just had a good time. Next is a book that everyone should read, and that is My Brilliant Friend, or essentially the entire Neapolitan Quartet by Elena Ferrante. Obviously this is just the first one. It's about Elena and Leela, and we follow them basically throughout their entire lives. In this book we meet them as children, set in Naples, obviously, because they're the Neapolitan novels. Everything about this series is brilliant. It's a book about friendship, it's a book about girlhood. I can't even put into words the experience of reading these books. It's the only series for me where every book in the series has been 5 stars. Like, every book, all 4 of them were 5 stars for me. This actually sums it up quite well, this quote on the back from the Irish Times. There is a savage honesty to the work of Elena Ferrante that is both unsettling and comforting at once. Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself, clearly. A book that would make a great movie. Oh, I forgot that was one of the questions. Is The Summer That Melted Everything by Tiffany McDaniel. I love Tiffany McDaniel, firstly. Read 3 of her books, and they've all been 5 stars. It's incredible. So it's set in 1984, and we follow a young boy called Fielding Bliss, and he meets a young boy claiming to be the devil, and we go from there. I want to make it a movie. I'll do it myself. And also, side note, Tiffany McDaniel, as well as being one of the most gifted writers alive right now, is also an incredibly generous person, because on her Instagram last year she put a little post about how she had some leftover book plates for like the UK covers of her books, and she literally said, like, if you want any, let me know and I'll send them to you. She paid the shipping, you know. So I messaged her. I was like, hey Tiffany, I love your work. And anyway, she sent me the book plates from Ohio to Wales. It's quite a way. Now all of my books have signed, personalised book plates, which is so nice. And she also sent me a thank you card. Like, how nice. Also beautiful writing. She's got beautiful writing. But like, how lovely is that? Like, that's just a book you wish everyone would give a shot. Okay. A book that I feel like some people are put off by because they think it's gonna be like really purpley prose, and nah, I mean, kind of. I think another reason people are put off by this is it's kind of one of those books that gets described as all vibes, no plot. I don't fully agree with that, but I can see what people mean when they say that. But it is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I love this book. I read this a long time ago. Like, I read this like the year after it came out. It came out in 2011. Yeah, so I read this in 2012. I was 15. I was 15 when I read this. And it stuck with me. It stuck with me. I think it's beautiful. There is a plot. There is. I promise. It's magicians is the plot. Magicians. Multiple timelines. The way everything connects is just masterful. And it is a lot of vibes. Very vibey, very descriptive. It's very beautiful writing. I think people should give it a shot, because I love it. I love it so much I have 5 copies of it. I think people should just give it a go. If they don't like it, fine, but don't be put off by thinking that it's just all vibes, no plot, because if you get it, you get it. Now we come to the last question, which is, what is a book you will never forget? Just mentioned how much I love this author, but this is my personal favourite book from her. That is On the Savage Side by Tiffany McDaniel. This book is beautiful, it's heartbreaking, it's very dark. This is a book you need to like check triggers for, definitely. But I think it's worth it. It's so worth it. Look, there's my signed book plate, which is really nice. We follow twin sisters, Daffodil and Arcade, or Arc and Daff. We follow them from the time they're kids up until adulthood, when they find themselves in quite dark situations with addictions. And then in the background of their story, there are murders. There's women going missing and turning up, deceased. That part is slightly based on reality. It's based on the true story of women killed in Chillicothe, Ohio. I think that's how you say it. It's that this is a moving literary testament and fearless elegy for missing women everywhere. It's just, I can't describe the feelings that I felt when I read this book. It captured me in a way that no other book really has. It's incredible, and it's so much more than just a story about crime, because I said I don't like crime, and I don't like reading about crime, but the crime isn't the focus, or the crimes that happen. It's not the focus of this book. The focus is the women themselves and how people live, basically, when the odds are very, very stacked against them. I think this book deserves a hell of a lot more attention than it gets, because it's one of the best things I've ever read. And I've read a lot. I've read a lot of books. Like, this will be a modern classic. I'm damn sure about that. It's incredible. And that brings us to the end of the newbie tag. If you have stuck around and watched this entire video, thank you so much. That really means a lot to me, because obviously, this is brand new to me. It's my first ever video. You don't know me, and the fact that you've given me some of your time, I really appreciate it. I really do. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, but I've not really been brave enough to do it until now. I have no idea what kind of video, well, they'll all be bookish kind of videos, obviously, but I will definitely be posting more videos. Yeah, I just don't know when. But if you would like to stick around and chat about books with me a little bit more, please consider liking and subscribing, saying hi. Maybe no one's watching. Maybe I'm just talking into a void, which, that's fine too. If I'm talking into a void, fine. I've had a nice time. If there is anyone there, thank you so much. I really do appreciate your time, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. I will see you soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.